We have breaking news from the NHL. The 2022 Hockey Hall of Fame inductees have been officially announced. There'll be 6 new members joining the Hall. We'll discuss who they are coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some breaking news regarding the Hockey Hall of Fame and the 2022 inductees. The list was just announced here by the Hockey Hall of Fame members, Lanny McDonald and Mike Gardner, who are at the top of the board of directors who make these decisions. They had their in-person meeting for the first time in 3 years because of all the COVID restrictions we've been through, and they've decided upon 6 new members of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now, of course, in the builder category, we do have Herb Carnegie, who passed away back in 2012. So obviously his family will accept his induction on his behalf. Carnegie has a long history working in hockey. He ran hockey schools for a long time and was really greatly involved in various aspects for a long time in helping grow the game of hockey. In the women's side, we have a Finnish player, Riikka Sellinen, who's a 2-time Olympic medalist, a 7-time World Championship player in her own right, played well into her 40s as well, so certainly was a huge for the women's game, especially in Europe. I thought maybe some of the Canadian or American females, especially a couple of prominent Canadian females that are now eligible, like Caroline Ouellette or Jennifer Botterill, might be inducted, but they did not get the call this year. I suspect they will in the not too distant future, though. They're certainly well deserving of being in there and very well accomplished in their own right. And then when it comes to male players, we have a group of 4, including Daniel Alfredsson, longtime Senators captain, Calder Trophy winner. I mean, you can say what you want about the lack of individual awards. The Calder is really all he won on an individual standpoint, but basically a point-per-game player, great playoff record, tons of success, did plenty for the game of hockey. Obviously, Alfredsson, like I said, just the fact of his leadership alone was such a huge impact, not only on the Senators, but on the rest of the league. If you take a look at all of the future captains that played with Alfredsson, and a lot from him and were mentored by him to go on to be captains of other NHL teams, is quite remarkable if you take a look at former Senators players like that in that regard. But in his own right, he was one heck of a player, a dominant force for a long time during his prime. He and Spezza and Heatley were one of the best lines in hockey for quite a stretch of time. Not only does he only have the Calder Trophy as an NHL award, but accomplished plenty on the international stage as well, representing his country of Sweden on numerous occasions between the Olympics, World Championships, etc., and has lots of accomplishments in that regard, which is certainly, like I said, this is the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's not just what you did in the NHL, so certainly very much factored in here his international record. Joining him is goaltender Roberto Luongo. Has multiple accomplishments under his belt, but on an international stage was huge for Canada on numerous occasions. Between the Olympics, he has 2 Olympic gold medals, numerous other appearances for Canada in accomplishments in that regard. In the NHL, he's the all-time leader for goaltenders in games played. He's 4th all-time in wins, 9th best in shutouts. He is missing that elusive Stanley Cup. That's the only thing that's missing really from this entire group, is that Stanley Cup championship. But Roberto Luongo is one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Arguably, probably top 5 or 6 all time, and looking where he stands in all these individual categories, he's totally deserving to be there. So he's a first-time eligible member going in here on the first attempt. And joining him are a couple of fellow Swedes, longtime Canuck teammates, the Sedin twins, Daniel and Henrik Sedin. Of course, they do everything together. It's only fitting that they be inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame together. Both played 17 years in the league. Of course, Daniel Sedin has an Art Ross trophy under his belt. Henrik Sedin has a Hart trophy under his belt. So like Alfredsson, they all have one individual piece of hardware from the NHL, but lots of accomplishments as well internationally, which certainly, factor into things. I know there's lots of NHL players, lots of great players that are not in the Hall of Fame that, if you think about it, it's a little bit mind-boggling why they're not, and it's a debate every year. I'm sure that the group that makes these decisions, it's no easy task by any means, but you have Alexander McGillney still not in. Guys like Keith Tkachuk, Jeremy Roenick, Rod Brindamore. There's quite a list of guys that had tremendous careers, lots of accomplishments, but have not been able to get elected to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like, there's quite a debate over between good and great, and the Hall is not for everyone. It's really for the absolute best of the best. And I think for this year's class, you could make an argument that it might be a little bit weaker than some because they're kind of missing an elusive Stanley Cup, which is so hard to win. But I think the big theme with this year is international accomplishments, as well as long, of course, outside of the female going in. Like when it comes to Alfie, Luongo, and the Sedins, like long, successful NHL careers, terrific individual statistics, a little bit of hardware individually, but a great accomplishment on the international stage, which seems to be the flavor of this year's cast of people going in. So certainly all well-deserved. Like I said, there's plenty of other people and players that we could make arguments for as well, and hopefully they all get their opportunities here in due time. Of course, to be eligible for the Hall of Fame, you have to have been retired for a minimum of 3 seasons. So obviously the Sedins and Luongo are part of that class of first-time eligible people to be able to be elected to the Hall. So congratulations to everybody. Well-deserved on all parts. We'll continue to debate on who should be there because it's something that's talked about all the time. Are they a Hall of Famer? Are they a Hall of Famer? And a lot of people can make an argument for and against, and there's it's hard to say who's right and who's not. So let me know your thoughts on these inductees to the 2022 Hockey Hall of Fame. Who do you think is being looked over here? Who do you think should be getting in that's been looked over before that should be getting in the next year or two? And we'll discuss that further down in the comments. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Stay tuned. There will be more content coming on the channel later today to get you caught up with the rest of the news and the latest trade talk. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.